thank you everyone for tuning in. Today is a special day as we're gonna talk about a testimony of someone who's very, very special. Her name is Jennifer. She's gonna talk to us about something that God did in her life. Without any further ado, let me introduce you to Jennifer. Hi, Jennifer.
Hi, Juliana. How are you?
I'm fantastic. How are you?
I'm great. I'm good.
Okay, so you got us here today to make this video to talk about something that happened in your life. So can you tell us a little bit why we're making this video today?
Yes, it's really something that God did in my life, and it's very special to me. That's why I decided to share it. And so I'm super, super excited for everyone that is tuning in and find out really what God has done in my life.
Okay, so what is the time that you're talking about? Is it something that happened in your childhood? Something that just happened? Well, what's the time frame about what we're talking about here?
Yeah, sure. The time frame of my testimony is between 2008 and 2020, so about 12 years.
Wow, that's a long time.
It is a long time.
I hope we won't be here for 12
No,
years.
we won't. I promise. No,
okay, so and then how are you gonna, talk to us? How are you gonna break it down for us so we don't stay here for 12 years?
Sure. I actually decided to break down this testimony into 3 parts.
Okay.
The first is the background story, just to pretty much explain what happened in the beginning that brought it to where we are today.
Okay.
The second part is basically going to be what are the lessons that I've learned through what I just went through. And the third part is a surprise.
Yes.
So stay tuned. I can't tell you what it
exciting.
is. You'll find out as well.
Okay, I can't wait to find out.
Yeah,
So, okay, that's good. So 12 years and in 3 sections. So let's start with the background as you're going to share with us today.
Yeah, sure, absolutely. So to start in the beginning, again, my name is Jennifer. I'm a believer in Jesus Christ, and I just wanted to at least introduce myself for those who do not know me. Okay. But to go back to the background story that you just mentioned, I came to Canada in 2008, September 2008, and I came as an international student to Ottawa in Canada. Okay. Because my mom always wanted her children to study in Ottawa, so it was a good opportunity to come here to study. And I was also able to join my siblings that were already here, so it was a great opportunity. So I came to school. That's pretty much why I came. And after 3 years, I had a diploma in business administration, and my major was in human resources. So that's the beginning of the story.
That's good. So where did you come from?
I was living in Tanzania before.
Okay.
So coming to Canada was quite exciting because I had never been on the other side. Not the cold. No. We found out that the hard way.
Okay.
But it was definitely an experience. Since my siblings were already here, it was an easy transition for me to do.
Okay. So what happened after you graduated those 2 years? What did you do next? So we have 9 years and the 12 years. Yes. So as soon as I finished my first diploma, I decided to just finish up with school. So I took 1 more year and a half to get my degree. Since I was still young, I just wanted to finish school. And so I did 1 year and a half, and I got my Bachelor of Commerce in Nipissing University. Yes, girl.
Which is quite wonderful, and that was in Ottawa. And I finished around October 2012.
Okay. So, all right. So what happened next?
So as every student is always excited as soon as you finish school, the next step is to find a job. After you have suffered and labored and put in your hard work, and your parents have actually paid all the school fees they can in the world, is you want to move to the next step, and that's what I wanted as well. Okay. So I wanted to be able to get to work, find a job, and start my career and be an independent woman.
Sounds good. So how did that journey work for you?
Interesting journey. Interesting journey. In the first year, a lot of excitement, a lot of, you have a lot of options. You can apply where you want. I took a couple of months off, just as a break, because a lot of students anyways take breaks after they've been in school. They just want to take a break, travel if you can. And actually, funny enough, I actually traveled back to Tanzania during that summer.
Oh, okay.
And then when I came back in 2000, right after, that's when I decided to go back to work.
Okay, so how was the work journey? Did you find a good job? How was it?
So what happened is, as an international student, and I'm sure those that are following us that are international students know this journey, and those who don't will actually get to find out how it works.
Yes.
So as an international student, when you get to Canada and you finish your studies, you get what they call a postgraduate work permit.
Okay.
A postgraduate work permit is a permit that allows you to work after you finish your studies, pretty much. But it's a work permit, because there's different types of work permits. But it's a work permit that you can only get to one time.
Oh.
So that's important to keep in mind, because it will come back. It will be coming back in my testimony. So the sooner you know about it, the better.
Yeah, that's good information for everyone who's watching, who's planning to come study in Canada. So you only get that one.
You only get it once.
Hey, okay. So what's next? You got your work permits. What's next?
So I get my work permit, but the thing with the postgraduate work permit is, again, like I said, you only get it once. But as an international student, to be eligible and get you, basically to be eligible to apply for your permanent residency, you do have, at that time, the laws of immigration required international students to find a full-time, permanent job in your field. Very important to know. So, which means in my case, it would have been in human resources, which is what I majored in, or something more in the business, in the commerce, because that's what I did my degree in. But I wanted to focus on the human resources part.
Okay. So did you find a job in that field?
I did actually. You know, God opened doors, and I was able to find a job, multiple jobs actually, in human resources, different opportunities, but most were contracts. So 3 months contract, you know, a month contract, because you're new, right? You just finished school, so it's not everybody that lands a permanent full-time job right away. So that was the same for me. But I got opportunities in human resources that allowed me to still get the experience, but I was still not eligible for my permanent residency because they were in contracts. So they had to be permanent.
Okay, so all the 2 years, it was mostly on and off contract. And how did you do, like, after your year was almost over?
For the first 2 years, that's what it was. And then when I had 1 year left, which is 2015, something happened. And that's what I would call the unexpected. Really the unexpected. Because by January 1st, 2015, Citizenship and Immigration Canada changed the laws. And this time, what they had as a law was what we call the new express entry system. And some of you that are watching may already know how it works. But the express entry system is a program basically that the immigration put in place, and excuse me, it's a program that applies to all the provinces in Canada except Quebec. So how it works is it's a point system, which means they count your education, they count your age. So, you know, meaning if you're between 18 and 35, it's good, you know, because you're young, you contribute to the economy, and so on and so forth. If you have a PhD versus someone that has just a high school diploma, it's better because you know can contribute better to the economy. So it's a point system like that. So it measures who has better, who can stay in Canada and actually contribute better to the economy. But with that, the portion that had more points or the highest percentage was getting a full-time, permanent again job. This time, the good news is it did not have to be in your field.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So that's good news. Yeah.
That is good news and bad though.
Oh, no, what's the bad news?
I guess that's why we're here, right? That's why we're here to find out how this whole thing unraveled, and really how God's hand has been throughout this whole time. So what it is the job I'm talking about is they made a long list, a long table on the immigration website, and I'm actually going to be posting the information right down here below on the YouTube link.
Oh, that's good.
So you'll be able to check the information that I'm saying.
Okay.
They had a long list of jobs you can do, and there were different jobs. They're divided into three different sections. You know, high level, as in, you know, if you're an executive, mid if you're managerial, and then junior if you're like entry level.
Okay.
But not jobs like, you know, cashier. Not to say anything bad about these jobs, by the way. I'm just giving an example about how immigration works. But you know, not jobs where you're basically a beginner like call center and cashier. Those were not allowed at that time.
Okay.
So this time I had more options.
Yes.
Which was wonderful. This time I had more options, and you could either find a job on that list, or you can get what they call an LMI. This will also be posted in the link below.
Okay.
So an LMI is a labor market impact assessment, which means you get an employer that can pay about $1,000 and fill in a form, and immigration would have to either approve or disapprove the application, which means your employer is trying to prove to immigration that you, the international student, are the only person that can do that specific job, and not a Canadian or a permanent resident, which is difficult to find. Okay.
Wow. So that law changed in January 1st. So what did you do after? Because you only had a couple months left, or just a year, right? To December. So what did you do?
That's what I meant by the unexpected. That's exactly what I meant by the unexpected. So I started looking for a job. You know, on the list they gave, I started looking for a job, and again, I still also wanted to stay in my field, though, you know. But I started looking for jobs based on what they put. But I got jobs that were still on contract. And if you get a contract, it doesn't make any difference, remember, because it has to be 1 year.
Yes.
But it means that I had to have had the job by January 3rd, because my permit was to expire December 3rd. That's exactly 1 year.
Oh, wow.
So I had pressure.
Yes.
Basically, the law came out on January 1st, 2015.
Yes.
I had to have found a job by January 3rd in order to be eligible, so that by December 3rd, I apply before my papers expire.
Well, that's
pressure.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Okay, so how did you do, like, during that pressure time, trying to find something, maybe during September? How did you do it?
At first, I was so hopeful. You know, I'm a child of God. God can do everything. You know, be joyful at all times. Give thanks to God in all things. I did all of that because that's what God requires us to do. But by October, I was like, okay, I'm getting nervous. This is not working. I need to find a plan B.
Check.
No. This is like, no, this is real.
Don't
stay in the air. This is real, and you gotta find a solution now. So by November, since now I have a month and my permit is about to expire, I go to see some lawyers, and they give me 4 options.
Okay. So let's talk about those options.
Yeah.
What option number 1?
Option 1 is declare refugee status. As in, make up a story and say that you know, your home country is causing you some trouble, or you're under some kind of they might just attack you for some reason or another. And as a child of God, I did not want to lie, because God didn't bring me here on a lying permit. So why should I stay here to lie? You know, why should I lie to stay here?
Exactly.
So that was option 1.
Okay.
Option 2 was basically, there's so many options in my head now, but
that's okay. Sorry, take your time. It's your story. Take your time.
Yeah. So the second option was basically to leave the country, because your papers are expiring, so you'll be out of status if you stay here, and then you'll be deported.
Okay.
So you had to leave the country, but I didn't want to leave the country because my siblings were already here. I had already lived 8 years of my life here already.
Yeah.
So it's like, why do you want me to leave?
Exactly.
I've already built my whole adult life here, so I didn't want to leave. Third option
Okay.
I know you weren't expecting it either. This is why I said the unexpected. Third option is, the lawyer whispers to me, you don't know, a young man that is somebody, that is Canadian, that is a permanent resident, whom you like and they like you too, and you can get married. And it's a lawyer, right? So they have to give you all the options, so you pay them for that.
Yeah, that's their job. Yeah.
That's their job. And I tell them, I'm like, no way. I don't want to do a marriage covenant, that God takes very seriously, and that I also take very seriously in a month, basically, and leave out a lie. Remember, I have a month left, exactly, so I had to find a quick boyfriend.
Future husband.
A future husband in a month. But I said, thanks for the option. And then the fourth option was to go back to school and be an international student again.
Okay, so I'm pretty sure me and the people who are watching what's the option you ended up taking?
They're all four. They're tough, right? They're very tough. Some are tempting, but no. I eventually went for the fourth option, which is go back to school as an international student. But I did not know where the money was gonna come from. That's just the truth, and that's why we're sharing this testimony today, so that you can find out what the rest was.
Okay. Yeah. All right. So you ended up with option number 4, with not knowing how you're gonna pay school. That's a tough situation. I'll be honest with you.
It is.
I know it's matching a lot of things that people can meet in their lives. So what did you do? Like in 1 month, you have to find school, and you have to find a way to pay for that school.
It was a month I can't forget. I think my family members were a little more stressed than I was, and I understand their concern because obviously it's a stressful situation. However, I had a month. So my sister, who was already living in Quebec, started giving me some options. Remember, I told you that the Express Entry System is a program that works in all the provinces of Canada except Quebec. She gave me some options about some schools that I can actually look at, but remember, I can't apply for a degree now because usually when you apply at a university, you have to apply like 6 months before.
Okay.
And I have a month left, so I didn't have 6 months.
Okay.
The other option would have been to do a master's just to progress my education, but I can't do that either because you need at least 6 months to submit to the university.
Okay.
And so I was left with only one option, which is to apply at least at a college, because if you apply at a college, they accept people easily. A month before, 2 months before, a few weeks before sometimes too. Okay. And so that's what I did. I applied at a college in Montreal to do a different program.
Okay, so you moved from the state you were in Ottawa to go to Montreal to start again another 3 years.
You got it.
Wow. Okay.
Yes.
So doing that move, talk to us a little bit about how was it to move and sitting there. I don't know if you were in a plane or bus. How did you do? Talk to us about it.
I traveled by bus to move from Ottawa to Montreal. It was definitely an interesting journey. Mixed emotions, positive because I'm like, oh, thank God there's a solution. I'm not going to be deported, or I don't want to be married to stay here on a lie. I don't want to fake stuff to stay here. So it was positive because God made a way. It was negative because I'm making a choice I never thought I would ever make in my life. I'm moving away from a city I've lived at least 8 years, and I'm moving to another unknown place. And by the way, I didn't like Montreal. Sorry, this is shameless plug, but I did not like Montreal before. So every time I visited, I was like, no. But that's where I had to go. So it was mixed emotions, good, and also at the same time, what's gonna happen. But when I reached the border of Quebec and Ontario to enter Montreal, I remember I was in the bus and I prayed to God. I said, if my name is really Mugisha, which in my language it means blessing, I said to God and I prayed, if my name is really blessing, I have to be a blessing to the city of Montreal where I'm going. If really that's where you want me to go, I have to. So whatever the situation, however it's going to look like, I want to be a blessing to the place where I'm going. So
okay,
that's how we crossed the border. We came to Quebec.
That's good. I like that. The power of the word, like you're speaking into existence about the things that you have been feeling yet or seeing yet. Okay. So welcome to Montreal, right?
Thank you. Here we are.
So how was your journey in Montreal? And during those 2 years, did you work or you just started? Because you see you had a problem financially. So how did you do?
God provided the school fees miraculously. I would not tell you that it was easy money just coming in, because for those that do not know, international students really pay a lot of high level fees. When you're in college, you pay I was paying around $6,000 per semester. That's a lot of money. And so God provided through the family members, and then I started school and I did a 3-year program in accounting and management. But thankfully a lot of management courses I had already done them. So God was really faithful for me to be able to finish. So 3 years I finished.
Wow. So we have the 2015 with the 3 years. So we have 2018.
Yes.
And you're still in this journey of trying to figure out what's your next step. Are you gonna get this paper or what? So let's just have this honest moment. Can you really tell us what was your state of mind? Like, were you trying to stay happy? I know you were Christian around that time too, so you were praying and doing maybe church. Well, just tell us a little bit the story of how was your state of mind during that period?
I believe, to be quite honest, 2016, I will not forget, but I feel like it was the worst year of my life. To be quite honest, I feel like it was, because I'm doing a program I don't like. I'm in a city I don't like. I've left my friends behind, and I don't know what the future holds for me. And I feel like I have to go back to school, paying school fees. I felt like it was a waste because I'm paying school fees I never planned for. So I was frustrated, but at the same time, God kept me. He showed me a different side, which are some of the lessons I'm going to be sharing in the second part.
Okay, no problem. So now you are here in Montreal and you finish your school.
Yes.
So what's next?
Next is permanent residence again. We try again. But to be eligible in Quebec, which is great, is that you have to be here. What happens is you just have to graduate here in a specific program that have a specific amount of hours.
Okay.
And then once you graduate, that's it. That's about it. You just apply for your permanent residency.
Okay, that's good information for whoever's watching who's interested.
Come to Quebec. That's the good news.
Okay.
So I applied for my permanent residency because now I was eligible, right?
Yes.
So I applied for it. However, this is where the whole thing completely turns. Another unexpected times 2. It's a remix. But I applied for my permanent residency and I had to wait. I went to see some lawyers and also called immigration.
Okay.
And they told me that it was going to take about 1 year and a half to get it, which I was like, 1 year and a half, why not? I can't wait. But the 1 year and a half started getting longer over time. At first it was because there were some that time where there were some refugees coming in from the US, so that pushed a lot of things behind for us.
Okay.
And then eventually COVID also pushed things behind, so it became 2 years and it started really extending. But the twist I'm talking about is that the lawyer told me, remember that postgraduate work permit I said you only get once?
Yes.
You can't get it again because it's a federal one. So now the only option I pretty much have is you can wait either in Canada or outside of Canada. I did not again want to leave the country because my family is already here, so I can wait in Canada. But if you wait in Canada, you have to be a visitor.
Okay.
Being a visitor in Canada, you can't work or go to school. If you go to school, you cancel your permanent residency application. If you work, you need a work permit. And remember, I already got it before. So the lawyer said, wait, but you're gonna be a visitor, which means you're not gonna work starting in September 2018 until a couple of weeks ago.
Wow. So just like that, doing...
Nope, just like that.
How did you live? I mean, it's 2 years, you're a grown woman, so you have things you want to do. So
of course.
How was it during that period of time? Oh my gosh.
Again, at first frustrated. Because who wants to move on with their career and then all of a sudden they have to stop completely. They have to just stop. So at first I was frustrated, but again, I believed God I trusted God that this journey where I'm going to be at home for the next 2 years, it's going to be a period where I'm going to get to know Him, find out my calling, find out why this is happening, what the source is. Is it God? Is it the enemy? Because we also have an enemy that's always attacking. Which side? Which side is it? So it was a good time in terms of getting to know God and also finding out what my calling is and what it takes to be me in terms of what God has called me to do. But it was sad because you just have to sit at home.
Yeah. Okay. Wow. I'm very sorry you've been through all that. I cannot imagine how it was. And now after doing all those studies and you just got visitors just going, you know, in and out. So okay, so now you became a visitor, and then is there something else you're going to talk to us about this time period that you did, the 2 years that have been to now, 2020?
So in the 2 years, that's where I would say I was actually able to do quite a few things. And excuse me if I'm looking at my phone, it's because I made some notes and I have really important parts that I do not want to forget. Yeah. But whilst waiting, I would go really quickly. The first 3 months, I felt like there was some kind of depression. I don't know, because you know it's just unexpected. You're just at home. You eat, you sleep late, you wake up late, kind of thing. But eventually, just like in the Word of God, where it tells us, you know, like in 1 Kings 19, for example, where Elijah escapes away from Jezebel, and God tells him like, yo, get out, like arise and eat. You know, an angel appears to him and says, arise and eat, for the journey is long. And for me, it's a moment like that I had, where God was like, listen, get out of pity, get up and find out what I'm asking you to do in this time. Stop being in the dark room expecting things to happen miraculously. And so that's where God instructed me to really find out my calling, push things in my calling. So that's where I learned to play guitar. Shout out to you, Felna. I know you're watching this. I learned to play guitar from scratch. You know, I did that. Second is I joined a school they call EMAE at my church. So it's a school of, I would say, ministry, but you know, it's I'll give more details later. Right now my time is going, and I also decided to have a full-time schedule on purpose. So I bought a notebook that allowed me to plan my days Monday to Sunday, so that I'm not just sitting around wasting time. In order to keep myself busy, I learned how to start an e-commerce business online. I tried starting a hair business. You know, when I mean start,
is it one of the things that you do?
I did. I did, yeah. But I found out my passion. I really found out so many things that was inside of me that I did not know. So that's how I spent my 2 years. So I won't regret them, but I won't say they were easy. So I learned 5 lessons throughout my whole experience, and I'm very excited to share it with you, which is why we're here today. The first lesson is that God is God, and God is in control of our lives. We've experienced it even with the whole experience of COVID, where we realized that the whole world changed, and realized that God is still in control of your life, whether you like it or not. The second thing I wrote down, excuse me if I'm looking at my phone, it's because I put everything down. The second thing I learned is that the definition of work is different for a child of God than work in the world. I will explain. Work in the world means, you know, you go to a physical work or your workplace, or you have your own business. But in God's kingdom, work is what He has called you to do. And so in the 2 years, I learned that work for me, for what God has called me to do, it was in the field of music. It was in the field of composing music. It was in the field of discovering what else He has placed inside of me. Which what I was sharing is, some of it is hairdressing, for example, you know, but these are things God placed in me. The third one is ask God for your purpose and pursue it. Don't waste time. Don't just think you were born and you're just going to die, the normal thing. No, God has called you for a purpose. Ask Him what it is and pursue it without any distractions. And the fifth thing is persevere. Keep pushing whatever you're going through, and know that God will bring a solution. And with the perseverance also, the last thing that ties with it is don't compare yourself with other people's lives. If it means get off social media, do so. It will help you. That's what I did, and it worked for me. Not that I'm not happy for my friends and I'm not happy for what they were experiencing, but I realized that God gave me a different calling. And just to give you now, I'm sure you're all waiting to find out, how did I get my permanent residency? How did this now finally happen after so many years, after what I just explained? So what happened this year is around July, around my birthday, I was praying and God spoke to me and said, this is your season of Exodus. Go read the book of Exodus. I'm like, huh? I know the book of Exodus. You are leaving Egypt. You're going to the, promised land. What's the big deal? But he was really serious. And so he gave me a revelation to start doing prayers at a specific time, which I did. And so I was very consistent almost every day. I won't say every day, but I tried to really be consistent and do the prayers he asked me to do, not just for me, but also for my family and those that are around me. And around October, I went to see my leader, my choir leader. His name is Ministre Malou. Merci, je vous remercie pour votre vie. His name is Ministre Malou. I went to see him and I told him, my permanent residency is not coming. I don't know what the problem is. I'm frustrated. I have prayed. I have fasted. I don't know what else to do. And once I spoke to him, he asked me one question. How's your relationship with your father? I'm like, how is my relationship with my father? What does that have to do with my PR? I'm here for you to pray for me to get my PR. And I mentioned to him that me and my father speak. We do text each other on WhatsApp here and there whenever we can, but we haven't been in relationship for pretty much my whole life. So he told me, go fix your relationship with your father and everything will go well. I'm like, okay, sure. So I go home, I call him, and I book an appointment with my father to gather his family, and I gathered my family for us to come together via video in October. And we did so. God willing, we did so. I got to see my father for the first time on video. We used to talk, but we had never really interacted. I got to see him. I got to see his family. His family got to see my family. We all get to see each other. And at the end, he said these words to me. And he said, Jennifer, thank you for indeed being a blessing. Like I said, my name is Mugisha, which means blessing in English. And he said, thank you for being a blessing and bringing the whole family together. And thank you for not being the person to wait for us to come towards you, but thank you for being bold to bring us together after 29 years. I'm really grateful for you doing that. So I went and I told my leader these things, and he said, since your father has released a blessing to you, the same way Isaac released a blessing to Jacob, it is sealed. Your father has blessed you and your doors will be open from now on. Lo and behold, a month and a half later, I got my permanent residency. So yes, the final news is that I got my permanent residency. I am now a permanent resident here in Canada, and that is the good news. Of course, beyond that, there's also been prayers and support from the church, and I'm very grateful for that. And I have people to thank, but I'm going to thank them individually as well. So I thank Impact Saint Chrétien, I thank Pastor Yvon Castanou, I thank my personal pastors for being there for me, and for my choir leader for advising me, because if I would not have done it and had unforgiveness, I would not possibly have received my permanent residency. So whatever you're going through, really take it easy and know that God will make a way, but make sure you're not just, you've forgiven everybody you need to forgive. Not just individuals, but also systems. I was angry at immigration and I did not realize that. So when God revealed it to me, I fixed it, and here we are today. So I'm very thankful that I have my PR. Praise be to God.
Okay, so wow, me, myself, as I listened to Jennifer talking, I was thrilled because this testimony is something that anyone can relate, talking about faith, talking about perseverance. And this is not just a story about Jennifer. And then in this journey, she wasn't alone. She was with her family, as she talked about. So right here, we have right now her beautiful sister, Grace. Hi, Grace.
Hey, Juliana.
How are you doing?
I'm doing great. How are you? Thank you. My sister did it.
Oh, wow. Okay, that's one of the things she talks about, like finding her purpose with hair.
Yes, Jen Craft, y'all.
Okay, so we'll leave the link below for contact for anybody who need. So, Grace, I know she talked about moving in Montreal in 2018, and those 2 years she was basically living with you and her family. So it's just like, how was it when she was 2 years with you? How was it living with someone that is a visitor? She's not working, so you basically help her. How was it doing that thing for you?
It was actually good because I went through approximately the same experience as her, also as an international student for a few years. So I could easily sympathize, I would say, with her. So it was pretty much, but of course, it wasn't by my own strength. Only God strengthened me.
Yeah. Okay, so was it easy for you? Did you face any challenges while she was with you during those time not working? As a human being, we know you're a sister, of course it would be easy, but was it time that you faced challenging and be like, I really wish I wasn't doing this, or it was always smooth?
It wasn't always smooth because, as I said, I went through the same experience also. I couldn't work for a few years. So when I finally got my PR, I started working, obviously. And it was that time that I really wanted to now live my dream life. I wanted to travel. I wanted to do everything I couldn't do before. So when she was going through the experience she went through, obviously I had to take care of her. I had to take care of all the expenses of the house. So it was a bit challenging, but also God strengthened me, as I said, and throughout the journey He spoke to me and said, Grace, this is your ministry, this is this is what I want you to do. I want you to serve you, or I want you to serve me through your family. Like take care of them, and that's what I want you to do for now.
Oh wow, so you found your ministry to helping your sister. That's quite amazing.
Yes, every time I wanted to complain or I found it hard, God reminded me that this is what He wants me to do for now.
Okay, thank you so much, Grace. I really appreciate you coming here and speak again on behalf of your sister, and thank you just for being a good person, you know. Thank you so much. It was good seeing you.
You're welcome, likewise.
Okay.
So like we said earlier, this is the last portion, which is the surprise. I said that we prepared for you, and the surprise is a song that God gave me during this period of time, especially the past 2 years, and it's a song that's really on my heart, and I pray that it will encourage you as it did for me during this time. So lay back, enjoy, and share this song, and also subscribe. You never know, I might be bringing in more songs as well. So enjoy, and God bless you. Are you surrounded by darkness, trouble and confusion, your situation complicated? Oh, all doors seems to be closed, and you don't know what to do, and no shoulder to lean on. Oh, are you surrounded by darkness, trouble and confusion, your situation complicated? Oh, all doors seems to be closed, and you don't know what to do, and no shoulder to lean on. But the Most High God is mightier than the voice of many waters. Oh, El Shaddai is stronger than the depths of all your troubles. So you can rest in Jesus. You can rest in Him. So you can rest in Jesus. You can rest in Him. God bless you and have a wonderful end of the year.